Hey guys, Triptych here. I'm going to try something new out today. I have this recording. It is a first-person recording of me playing the game, but my audio quality was horrible. It had that stuttering issue. Hi, kitty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to commentate on myself playing this 3 vs 3 game, and hopefully the quality will be better and it will be entertaining for you guys. So this was a couple months ago, and I do not remember how the game goes. I watched just briefly to catch up a little bit. And let's see. So I am green, I am Romulans on the top right, and I'm allied with Warp Core, and I believe in the bottom right is Chips. I'll correct it if it's wrong. Or correct me if it's wrong. This is Admiral's Edition, and I believe this is 1.02 or 1.03. And I was commenting on how he lowered the vision radius of a lot of ships, including constructors. Constructors have lower vision radiuses, but they also have the resource scan, where they reveal moons that they get close to. And I think this was the first version. He had a kind of a small radius on it, which he later made it a lot bigger. And both of us have been considering in the future making it so that when the game starts, it just lights up every moon on the map for a second and then goes dim, so you know where the maps are where the moons are located. Because we couldn't really come up with a good reason why you wouldn't, why to make the players search for the moons. Also, the Romulans in Admiral's Edition have a support warbird, which is effectively the same ship as the previous support Generics. It has Plasma Bolt, I believe it has the Mine special, Plasma Mine, and then it has Shield Restore as its special. So, as we can see, past me is going, I picked Halev and I'm going Generics, except in this version they have a different name, it's the Kellyan, I think, or something. And yeah, so I am mirrored against... let's see. Okay, so Drazon is Federation in the left middle, and I was mirrored against Martok, who's also Romulans. And I saw okay. I was getting, let's see, so I got the one Griffin, I'm getting the Griffin special. I've effectively used up my starting resources, but I am getting those additional moons. Griffins in base version and Admiral's Edition have a high dilithium cost and a very low tritanium cost. And you can see here, I've seen he's getting Griffins as well. So when you have a mirror situation and people are building the same ships, the very first battle can have a very big effect. It doesn't really matter how much economic damage you do, you're not going to have much of a chance to do economic damage. Well, okay, Romulans will, because their freighters are so weak. But it's going to be difficult, and then it's really if you can get a kill. Because the first fight between Griffins and Leahvals tends to be nobody dies at all. Nobody loses anything, and everybody just retreats back home. But if you actually can get a kill, that's huge. So as you can see, I switched into Leahvals for this game. Leahvals cost a little bit more tritanium, but still not that much. I mean, compared to the Griffin they do, but it's still mainly dilithium. And I was looking at, in Admiral's Edition, you have to get the detection refit before you can get decloaky scouts, which are a very huge part of Romulan versus Romulan gameplay. So, I know I had gone with the Leahvals because they deal bonus damage to medium range, which is Griffins. And the thing about the Griffin is, its stats, its offense is 28 and its defense is 22. So it's actually a pretty fragile ship in the grand scheme of things. It has good defense for an early cruiser, but it's, an Intrepid, I think a Risner or a Mason Intrepid has more defense than a single Griffin. But the trick is because they have the Sensor Jammer special, which has a chance to disable weapons on the enemy, it can give them a few seconds of freedom. And 28 offense is nothing to laugh at, especially when it's beam and can deal with just about anything effectively. So here we saw, yes, I believe it was Chips. Like I say, I'm going to keep calling you Chips. If Blue wasn't Chips this game, I'll fix it. But Blue tried to turret rush, or maybe even yard rush, Star Master Prodigy in the bottom left there, and I don't remember how it went. I don't think they got it, but I think they held him off for a long time. Yeah, and there I'm looking at the Leahval special. I forget. I had proven that the Leahval special was actually broken in 327. It didn't grant plus 10 defense to the ship like it was supposed to. I don't know if Admiral Nat has fixed that in his. He probably has. He's fixed a lot of bugs that I've discovered over the years because he knew about them from the forums and from the Discord before he even started working on Admiral's Edition. So, let's see. I remember this vaguely. I really wanted to get the first strike against Martok, and he actually, because every single ship, we're mirrored, we're building at exactly the same rates, I delayed some of my expansion a little bit just to get that ship started so that I could have them as fast as possible, which means I ended up with 2 Leahvals and a Griffin. And I believe, since Martok stalled on one of his Griffins, I think he only has 1 Griffin.
Starship complete.
Okay. That's right. Martok also has the dilithium moon, which means if I try to play the long game against him, I will lose. Like, I cannot beat him because I have a tritanium moon, and it's not Triptychs mod, so dilithium is far more important. Oh, okay, yeah, I didn't have enough for that. I really wanted it. So, with this, I remember now, because Martok got that dilithium moon in the corner and his expansion, he had spent so much money he didn't have, that was what delayed his Griffin. Okay, he did actually have 2 Griffins, but it is 2 Griffins versus 2 Leahvals and a Griffin. And at this point, my main focus is just dealing damage to his economy. Even though tritanium miners aren't too valuable, they were what was here. They were what was available, and he can't actually kill Leahvals at this stage. I think I knew I can just cloak out. I can even auto-repair if I have to, yeah. Now there is a 3rd Griffin. And he did have the sensor jammer, which is most dangerous because it can stop cloak. But as you can see, he didn't get it on that Leahval, and I was able to pull back. And also, I did get a bit of scratch damage on that Griffin. Also, Griffins are relatively fast for medium-range ships, but Leahvals are faster, so even though you saw at the end there, he actually got a hit on the weapons of my Leahval, which would have been... Or is that sensors? Never mind. Oh, okay, never mind. So it didn't actually decloak it, but that could have been very dangerous. And you see there, I immediately decloak before going back to repair. This is just a good tactic if you play Griffin and Leahval, or if you play Romulans in general. Oh yeah, he did get the weapons. It's important to decloak your ships whenever they're not fighting or in danger because you need the energy regeneration. If you leave your ships cloaked all the way back to base, and then you cloak them and head out to attack again, you'll have no special energy and you'll be in huge trouble. So at this point, I have 3 Leahvals about to hit 4, and plus the Griffin, and then Martok I know has 3 Griffins about to hit 4. So I am up 1 ship on him. And also I have the Leahvals. I guess I didn't get the Griffin special. That's right. I think I canceled it and went for the Leahvals. But if I get the Leahval special, number 2, the one that gives the increased stats, that makes him very dangerous. Also, something very important about the advanced energy reeling is it reduces the cloak cost to 0. The reason this is huge is because normally if you set a Leahval to auto repair, you have to be really careful because it'll auto repair until its energy is 0, and then you won't be able to spend the 15 special energy it takes to cloak. But when you have advanced energy reeling active, you can use auto repair and you don't have to be afraid because if your energy hits 0, you can still cloak. That's something that's really great about that special. Advanced energy reeling is in general just a fantastic special. 10 offense, 10 defense. It doubles your damage of your metaphasic and it increases the efficiency of your auto repair. It basically exists for the Leahval to dump all of its special energy all at once. And if you have ways to get extra energy, then that'll be helpful as well. So yes, here I am moving out with 4 Leahvals and a Griffin against his 4 Griffins, and I have just gotten my special, so I'm pretty confident that I can take something down. But I decided to strike out at some of his miners that were traveling between bases first. That way I could get him away from his repair yards a little bit before engaging, hopefully. And like I say, even though, well, the Leahvals do just have higher combat stats when their special is active. They also have the fact that when they're every Romulan ship has a rate of fire bonus when it starts shooting. Interestingly enough, this refreshes whenever they use a replace weapon. This makes replace weapons very effective, like the Leahval special and the Narexan special. So when I activate, it's okay for me to shoot. Normally this is a bit dangerous for a Romulan player to attack because you use up your rate of fire bonus. And then if the enemy shows up, you'll be shooting with slower weapons. But for the Leahvals, it isn't dangerous because if he does show up, I can pop the special and it will reset my rate of fire. And then when the special ends, it resets it again. So replace weapons are just generally really, really good for Romulans. And here I realized I was actually I realized, oh, if I had full energy, I wasn't using my regeneration. So it was worth it to pop some of those metaphasic disruptors. Here, Martok decided to raid me with his Griffins, but I am fairly confident at this point that I can deal more damage to him than he can do to me. As you can see, he's hitting my tribe, but it's not the worst for me because I've already gotten my specials. Okay, well, there's that Griffin special. But however, at this point, it is true I did not have enough production. He had the 2 yards. So you can see how at this stage, Martok has spent a lot of resources on economy. He got his extra dilithium moon. He got his 2nd yard. He will beat me if time goes on, but I have a significant advantage in firepower at the moment. And I decided to go ahead with this for killing off his constructor. I'm trying not to use up too much energy, although I probably should have used advanced energy reeling instead of the metaphysic disruptor there. I also have that decloaking scout nearby, waiting in the wings. And at this point, since Martok has come back, he's not doing economic damage to me. I can keep on shooting.
We have engaged the enemy.
Also helpful is getting ranks on these ships, because the Leahvals do get extra energy when they rank up. And okay, I remember, I did actually decide to dive on him here. He did get a couple weapons disabled, and he even got a weapon destroyed on one of my Leahvals there, which is unfortunate. But he is not able to... oh yeah, Warp Core thinking I've done enough raiding. Which may have been the case, we'll see. But as time goes on, now that the sensor jammers are all gone from the Griffins, I think I have a pretty good chance. As long as I get my ships out and he doesn't get his out. I believe, did I lose Leahval here? Let's see. Yes, I did. Oh yeah, and that guy got back in the yard. I already missed a bit. I think I was changing them to different control groups. Oh yeah, that sucked too. That Leahval with its weapons down can't use any special abilities.
Proceeding with ship construction.
Oh yeah, this is me trying to figure out what the hotkey is for the Griffin now, because it's the other name. So yeah, at that point, I don't remember how many Griffins I got. I think I got 2 or 3 Griffins. And I think I lost 1 Leahval, so maybe 2, but I did much better economic damage to Martok than he did to me, so I felt pretty good about this attack. I also didn't lose the decloaking scout, which I was afraid of doing. And now I can recover my energy and go in again. And at this point, oh right, also, even though we both have 2 yards, I was able to disrupt his income enough. I think he's probably building more freighters at this point. And I failed to build for my yards there. I didn't multitask while I was in that fight. I could have had those Griffins. I could have had 2 more Griffins a bit sooner. But at this point, the Fed roll is starting to go. And the Griffins, both Leahvals and Griffins have a bit of interesting scaling. The Leahvals, because they can pop, energy reeling and auto repair. So a single Leahval can repair quite a lot of damage. The Griffins, as I said, they actually get pretty fragile later on, but they do get the stacked sensor jammer. In general, I think the Leahvals probably scale better. It just depends on what you're fighting, because there are things that take out Leahvals. Leahvals can be kited a lot better than Griffins can be.
Starship complete.
But I was confident that I was like 1 or 2 ships ahead of Martok, since I'm just finishing up 2 here, and I know that his next set haven't built.
Station complete. What is it now?
What is the request?
Oh yeah, that extra tritanium. It didn't do much, but you know, it's nice to have. I think I was planning to not rebuild my expansion tritanium or something,
Yes.
or not do as much with it, and that way, or I knew he could raid my expansion tritanium and it wouldn't hurt me,
You
because I'd have that
interrupt
extra
my
back there.
research? Yes.
We have the superior firepower.
So now I am at 7
You
ships,
interrupt my research? But what of my work?
and Martok
Tis more brave
has, we'll
to
have to see when
live
we
than to
look
die.
back over there. I think, oh, he
What is
cloaked
it
them to send them
now?
elsewhere. Fortunately, oh yeah, I'm using
what
this
of my work?
decloaky scout as a huge bait here,
My life for the Empire.
seeing if he comes over. And I noticed, yep, he had a little freighter coming up from below, and I was like, well, he might have defended bad his expansion, but he wouldn't be over here. And because I'm slightly faster, I can just hit these and run.
Talon reporting.
And as long as his griffins are chasing my Leahvals, he's not going to catch them. And I was hoping to do some real economic damage here.
'Tis more brave to live
And also
than
I
to
got one
die.
more griffin out during this time.
'Tis more brave
The
to
longer I
live
go,
than to
while
die.
killing freighters, the better position I'll be for the final fleet battle. And this is an interesting concept in fleet ops, which is the minimum viable raiding force. What is the smallest number of ships you can bring and still get consistent kills on the enemy? And, oh okay, yeah, I actually did get too close to him there. The Leahval is a great ship though for that reason, because only like 2 Leahvals, although 3 is probably better. 3 Leahvals is a minimum viable raiding force. It can go around, it can kill expansions even if there are turrets there. It can do a ton of damage,
For the Empire.
and then it can just get out.
You interrupt
Whereas
my
for
research?
for example, the Federation, they have a kind of a rough time, because if they have like Intrepids. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Blue in the bottom right is Limon.
Firepower.
Reporting.
Hi, Limon. So, but for some races like the Klingons, they have a very effective minimum rating for minimum viable rating force, which was in the game I recorded today. It was 2 cavorts. 2 cavorts was enough to raid the crap out of mining, and like undefended mining, you know, and like it's really hard to catch because the 2 cavorts can just cloak out and go somewhere else, and you can't bring back your whole fleet to kill 2 cavorts. So at this point, I believe we saw Martok had 6 griffins. He might have had 7 though, and I have 6 griffins. So I'm feeling very confident in what I've got. I've also got the Leahval,
We have the superior.
which is helpful because I'll have to check what the Leahval's base stats are, but the Griffin's base defense is 22, and I think the Leahval is 19 or maybe 20. So if I don't use the Leahval, oh yeah, if I don't use the Leahval energy reeling, I can just use auto repair, and it will get auto targeted by these Griffins, and I can use it to tank for my Griffin fleet. Oh yeah, so you saw there, I got the decloak ping on his fleet coming back, which is a huge problem for Martok. You see, there's one Griffin going down, and another one about to go. That was an excellent engagement for me, because those first couple seconds really determined the strength of this fight. And you see, I already had stuff that was cloaking and running, so that is a 3rd Griffin kill I'm getting right now.
The enemy.
There goes the Leahval,
I need more supplies.
taking a lot of damage. But it also managed to cloak, so at this point I have gotten the critical mass, and this battle is already over. He can do a little bit more center jamming. Now I can't kill him near the yard, which is unfortunate,
Than to die.
but I can continue to kill all of his miners here.
My research? I should be in the
And I
lab.
can come back and repair, and like he's never going to be ahead of me again. At this point I forgot that the auto repair systems on the Leahval also repair subsystems. So I had that Leahval sitting there when I should have just decloaked it and auto repaired it, and it would have flown away. But at this point it's very bad
Tests.
for Martok, because I can continue raiding, he can't stop me. I have the faster ships, I have the greater mass, and I have the ability to engage without taking losses. I also have the ability to
I'll be in my lab.
engage him and get kills,
But what of my
because I
work?
have the higher speed
I
and
need
I have
more
the decloaking
supplies.
scout.
My life for the
So from
Empire.
here on out, it's all going to be bullying him.
Engaging thrusters.
Yes.
Leahvals are very much a bully unit.
Starship complete.
So are Monsoons. The type of unit that once you get them, you just sort of crush the enemy, or you overpower them. It's good at dealing with them like they can't come back from it. Because of the higher speed and the general tankiness, those make good bully units. You could say that spheres are good bully
Yes.
units, but
Engaging.
only
thrust
when they
rate.
come out early, like only when there isn't enough to deal with them. Which I guess is why the Leahvals and the Monsoons are considered such bullies, is because they come out so early in the game when it's hard to have anything to deal with them. I haven't looked down below for a while. I know that Drazon is getting a very nasty Federation fleet in this game.
Yes.
Well, Warp Core, I believe Warp Core has
Starship complete.
I do believe Warp Core has Warbirds this game that he's been, yeah, he got a Warbird Yard earlier. And then I didn't see
Interrupting my
Limon's fight with
research?
Starmaster Prodigy.
'Tis more
I
brave
know
to
he
live
didn't
than
win,
to die.
but he also didn't lose, and the
I should be in
the
lab.
proxy thing slowed down Starmaster Prodigy quite a
Interrupt
lot,
My research?
which is really all that we needed in this team fight, was for him to hold on and keep Starmaster Prodigy from contributing to group fights. Also, for those who saw the previous one, like I said, I think this was around October. So, at this point, Limon had been playing with us for about 3 months,
What is it now?
and is starting to get a much better grasp on
Must
fleet
run more
composition and
tests.
the way all the different races work.
Moving.
Which is pretty impressive considering he's
my
also learning
research?
2 mods at the same time between Admiral's mod and Triptych's mod. There's the decroak. He got the sensor disables on me. And the fact that there were enemy stations nearby actually meant that some of my sensor disables hit stations instead of ships. But I just have the critical
Is
mass.
it now?
I've got too many Leahvals dealing extra damage to these Griffins using energy reeling. My burst damage is incredibly high. And you can see how I think maybe he did fix it then, because when the bug was in place, when the Leahvals don't get extra defense from energy reeling, they get auto-targeted before the Griffins. But in this, you can see the Leahvals are clearly not getting auto-targeted. The Griffins are getting targeted first. So maybe AdmiralNet did fix the defense bug.
Is it now?
And my nice little veteran Leahval. That was a warp-in from Drazon. Sadly, it was important to be here for this fight, I think, but it was a bit too little, too late.
Than to die.
And here you see the real crippling damage. I mean, the yards are a nasty loss. Oh, okay, that's right. Drazon brought a lot more. And at this point, I have to run. But the real loss is the loss of the Griffins themselves, because these are not cheap ships. These are like 620 dilithium each. So the way that you beat the Romulans is you kill their actual ships
'Tis more brave to
until
live
their
than
numbers
to
get
die.
too low to have critical mass to kill you quickly.
'Tis more brave
Because
to live
Romulans can't
than
stick
to
around
die.
in a lengthy fight. So you can see, even with all that, I'm a bit afraid to fight the Federation. Now, some of that is because I'd used up all my special energy, and I have a fleet that is heavily dependent on special energy. I could probably take those Akiras if I just fought them. Like, if I fought head-on with full energy, I think my fleet takes that fleet. But when I'm low on energy, it doesn't at all, and that's why I decided to go for the Singularity Transmitter there. I don't remember if I actually built it, though, or if I was lacking dilithium. However, I look there and I say, oh, hey, my ally has Nerexins, so he's doing pretty well for himself. I think there wasn't a lot of fighting. Oh yeah, I even decloaked a scout there. I think there wasn't a lot of fighting between Drazon and Warp Core this game. I think Drazon was determined to build up his tech, and Warp Core was fine with that. He wanted to get Warbirds.
My life.
So we really had 3 entirely separate fights. Oh no, never mind, I'm sorry. Warp Core sent his Warbirds down, and you can see in the bottom left there, Limon and Warp Core are knocking out Starmaster Prodigy's
We
expansion
have
with
a
extreme
superior
prejudice.
firepower.
What is the request? Moving out.
And then at this point I decided, you know what I really need? I need repair yards. Romulan
Yes.
repair yards.
Scout reporting.
Oh, that's also right. part of the reason that Martok had been a bit slow on his ship production and why I was able to outpace him was because he went for mixed tech to get the Dominion mixed tech torpedo reends, which
Now.
I guess, do they do extra damage to medium range? Or no, they do extra damage to cruisers. So they do hurt Griffins. I don't know if that also affects support
We
ships
have
like
the
Leahval,
superior
but
firepower.
he went for torpedo reends and they didn't work out. It is just, even though the mixed tech yard is only 600, that's a Griffin. And I think the mixed tech research is only like 300 or 400 dilithium, but that's still dilithium. That could have been a Griffin. Okay, yeah, I can't actually capture
We
these
have the
stations,
superior
sadly,
firepower.
because he's
Is it now?
able to
It's more
decommission them.
brave to live than to die.
Now that would be interesting if there was, like, the way that the recrew option is disabled if you've been attacked or boarded. It would be interesting if you could disable the decommission option while you're under fire. That would make it a lot easier to capture
My life for the Empire.
stations, that is.
You interrupt my research.
Okay, and then Starmaster probably saying, all three of us went mixed tech. Well,
But what of my work?
yeah, that's not going to win you the
Must
game.
run
Oh,
more tests.
just because mixed tech
We
takes so
have the
long.
superior firepower.
Is it now? Station is under attack.
Proceed to coordinates. We have the superior firepower.
So we now enter the smack talk phase of the game.
Heading to destination.
Oh, that's right, I did get hit, and I think those are mixed tech circas, which have, like, the extra radius on their torpedo. So Martok did get a bit of damage
I
on
must
me there.
run more tests. I should be in the lab.
Proceed to coordinates.
For the Empire.
I mean,
My life for the Empire.
spam is an interesting concept. As a game developer, I try to make it so that spam is not a good idea,
We have engaged.
because you don't want to have a situation where you're feeling like people, there's a strategy available to the players, but it's dishonorable for them to use it.
Proceed
Like,
to coordinates.
no, the players should do whatever it takes to win. And if a ship is spammable, if a ship is such that building nothing but that one ship is overpowered, that's a sign that the game development did a bad job.
You interrupt
Although,
my
I mean,
research?
It's a very difficult thing to design around
Proceed
because,
to coordinates.
quite frankly, building all of
My
the same
life
type of
for
ship
the
is easier
Empire.
to keep control of and play with on a mental level.
I must run more tests. Yes.
So here we see some T-15s fighting against Neurexans. That'll go very well for the Neurexans. In Admiral's
Yes.
Edition, there are two different Neurexan types, and they have different names. There's like Valdor Neurexan type and Valdor something other type. One of them is the old one with pulses and beams, and one is the similar to Triptych's mod where it has torpedoes and beams.
'Tis more
So you
brave
can build
to
either
live
one. You can
than
build
to
one
die.
that's good against small ships and one that's good against big ships.
Yes.
Ah yes, and Warp Core is getting whacked. Very unfortunately.
My work.
We have the superior
However, I have a veteran Griffin, which disables engines when it uses sensor jammer, which is fantastic.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I had built this singularity transmitter thinking it would be even more effective than a yard, because it would let me bring back my Leahvals and recover their energy. But I really just wanted to mine from Martok's base.
With what? Keep moving.
Now we did get caught out here, I remember. There's almost nothing at home because Liman and Warp Core are coming back down below. And I think even when Warp Core's warbirds arrive now, it's still not safe for him to engage because the warbird yard has just died. Yep. And there's so many parties. Oh yeah, and there's a Dreadnought. Because it's Starmaster Prodigy in a team game and he got Dominion. Of course he's going to do a Dreadnought. Ooh, actually, that's a bit of friendly fire. I didn't notice that when I was playing, I don't think. But the Circus doing some AoE damage that hurts Drazon stuff. Yep.
You interrupt my research.
Oh, I remember this. I actually did kind of a bad job here because I
interrupt my
really
research.
wanted these Akuras and I really wanted that constructor. And I think I went in when I wasn't supposed to
Now.
and kind of messed things up.
Yes.
Well, I'm going for the Avalon.
We have the superior firepower.
I want the Avalon, and I want the Constructor. But because Limon and Warp Core were coming nearby, now the left-hand team's fleet all goes to the left, and they get kind of stuck.
We have the superior firepower.
And so they chased after. I don't know if they decloaked and engaged, but here I took a fight I should not have taken. I should have just run here. Like, even though I've got a lot of stuff, here's the problem. My allies weren't ready to go in, and I am fighting 2 players here. Well, 3 players just about. And there's a Dreadnought. Like, I was lucky Starmaster Prodigy didn't get the Dreadnought on me and just use it special, because he could have stunned my entire fleet. So yes, I lost very badly here. And then as I cloaked out and thought that it was done, Warp Core and Limon went in. And that was my mistake again. Sorry, guys. And as you can see, so they focused down the Dreadnought because the Norexans were dealing extra damage to it. I believe Limon loses a lot of S2s because S2s tend to be the first thing to die in a big team fight. But in the end, we did just have the fleet size to handle it. And I did have energy reeling on all of my Leahval, so we did clean up this fight, but despite my best efforts to lose, the right-hand team managed to win this game. So, hope you guys have enjoyed my talking over myself. I talked quite a lot, didn't I? This is Triptych signing off.